Hey guys, Gabe Eltaeb here, bigmancomics.com. I wanted to share with you some work. I believe in working hard, getting the comic books done in a timely manner. I don't like late books. I've never missed a deadline. I've been a professional artist for a quarter century. I've never missed a deadline. It doesn't happen. I find it unacceptable. One thing in the social media age I think I do need to do is start doing some live work for you guys, so you guys can see the process, you see what I do here. And we can just have a little bit of fun and talk. You can ask questions. So I've got my iPad here. It's connected to the computer. What you see on the screen there is what I have here. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of inking. Unstoppable Tyrus is currently 120 pages, but I'm thinking of adding about 5 or 10 more pages to the final battle to make it more epic at the end of the book. But right here, what I've got for you are the inks I'm working on today for page 31. These are my inks here on top of Acheon's pencils. And let me just go through a little bit of this to show you what I do here. Is anybody here yet? Vizinger, aka El Otaku, aka the Weed Pillar, separately goes, "Hey buddy, how you doing? Hit the like, hit the share, and all that." And so these are the original pencils here sent to me by Acheon. And you'll see what I do a little bit sometimes is it'll be a little loose, so I will go in and redraw the face in pencil myself, and then I'm going to end up inking that. So you can see that on her face, I just kind of redid it. And then here, I straightened out a little bit of stuff there. So I'll go in and alter the pencil slightly, but I never want to disrespect Acheon's pencil work and just overwrite it completely. But I will go in and alter some things that I think are a little loose, a little abstracted, and then away we go with the inks. But yeah, this is an iPad Pro that I've had for like 3 years, and looks nice. I'm more of a pencil myself. Yeah, I do it all: pencil, ink, color, letter, write, work with the printers, pack, ship. All of it. I'm an entire comic book company, along with my wife, and so yeah, that's how we get it done. But yeah, I think I'll work on this a little bit and try and read the chat. So the chat's right in front of me on this screen here, computer screen that you can't see, and I'll try and ink some of this here for you guys. Let's see, I'll put that up there. But yeah, that's how I like to do this on the iPad. I prefer to work traditionally on paper. But this calls for what it calls for, right? So I need to do it on the iPad to meet the schedule that I want to meet. Because again, I see, some people. I think the biggest problem in the independent comic space right now, the crowdfunded comics and all that, and it's been the big problem for years, is late books. People not delivering what they said they were going to deliver. I think that's I was going to say despicable, but that like implies some real malice or something like that. I think it's definitely unprofessional. You know what I mean? I think it's really unnecessary as well too. So it's very important to me to get this stuff done, and I have deadlines I want to hit because I have other books I want to do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't want to just be on. I don't want to do one book a year. That's the thing. I have about 5 books I'm trying to get out this year. And it's important to me to make those deadlines. Let's see. Zinger says it looks nice. He's more of a penciler because he has a high proficiency in penciling. So, do you have anything out? Do you have a website, or are you being published anywhere? Or where's this high proficiency being put to use? Because it's one thing to have the high proficiency; it's another thing to make something of it, though. You know what I mean? It would be like if you're not using it, that's like a tall person not playing basketball. Like, what are you doing? So. But yeah, I thought I would do some of this work live and share it with you guys, and hopefully the chat can get rolling a little bit, and I can answer questions. But I will be. I hate that I'm looking down while I'm drawing, because then I'm not looking into the camera. But you're just gonna have to listen to the beautiful tone of my voice and read the top of my hat, I guess. But yeah, this is me inking some hair. So hair is something I really love to ink. I learned my sensibility from hair from one tutorial in like Wizard magazine, like in 1998 or something like that. And it was Kevin Maguire, the legendary artist. I think he's most known for that cover he did for Legion of Superheroes that has been mimicked hundreds of times. This one cover he did, and but Kevin Maguire, he draws hair sublime. Just such. I think he draws like some of the best facial expressions in comics too. His subtlety with facial expressions is quite amazing. And he put a tutorial in Wizard magazine. I suppose they paid him for it. And And it was just like the way he thought about hair and the way he explained it was just brilliant. So I've often thought of that, and it really has affected the way I do dark hair more than light hair. Light hair, I've done. I realize I've done a lot less of it. Now this character, Cindy, she put on her glasses because we're doing something really smart at this point in the story. Um, she does have blonde hair, so it is different because you're trying to create volume and shape and all that, but you don't want to rely on too much darkness in it because then the hair's going to come out as brunette, or you know what I mean. It's going to come out as a darker colored hair. So that's a tricky thing to do with the inks here, is to still show the volume, the shading, the lighting, the light source, all of that without getting way too dark. You know. So, but yeah, the iPad is great to use. It really saves you a lot of time for things that are overly technical when you're drawing by hand. Also, you could do instant corrections instead of having to get out any whiteout or anything like that. If you throw a line that you don't like, you can fix it instantly. That's a great thing. I do prefer working on regular paper with regular pens and all that, because there's just something about the original art, right? There's just, when I go to Comic-Con and I see those booths that specialize in, original art from that golden and silver age of comics and all that, it's mesmerizing to me. It's the whole reason we do this. Those of us that grow up to do this, we love drawing, or at least I would hope so. I would hope that's why people are doing this, because they love visual storytelling. But yeah, seeing those original 11 by 17 Bristol boards, sometimes much larger, it's really, to me, it's just outstanding. Let's see. Weed Pillar says he's making his own shared universe. He already has some character designs and creature designs for a shared universe, but he hasn't started yet. His business partner is working on the first book for his shared universe. That's awesome, dude. Well, I would say as long as you're doing something to grow it every day, something to move towards your goal, it would stand to reason that you have to hit your goal eventually. If you keep moving in a direction, you'll eventually get to your destination. No, that just makes sense, right? So, and that's one thing. That's the key to success in life. Is it seems so simple, but it's one of the hardest things for all of us to do, is consistency over time, right? That is incredibly hard to stick to the diet, stick to the financial discipline, stick to the whatever new routine. I'm going to go jogging every morning. And people are able to do it for a couple days or whatever. And, Rome wasn't built in a day. Everything is consistency over time. I think one of the tricks is the way you think about it is you're constantly building in life, whether you like it or not. So if you're lazy and all that, then you're building the results that laziness give you. If you're hardworking and all that, then you're building those results. But you're always building. You don't have a say in that. That's just how reality works. It's like imagine like a fire hose, and it just doesn't turn off, right? You just have to spray it in the right place. It's not up to you whether the fire hose is going. So the time of life passing by is not up to you. But what is up to you is like, well, what am I going to do with this fire hose that never stops shooting? I'm going to aim it in the right direction, and so on and so forth. So to me, that's what consistency is about. Consistency is about, well, I've got this one life, I've got this one chance. What am I going to do with it? So, and as you can see, I don't know how well you can see the pencils underneath my inks here, but I don't follow them exactly. I'm supposed to interpret them and embellish them, and sometimes you follow them pretty close because it's a layup to do and it makes the most sense. But you do want to add that wet ink look. That I think the thing I like most about the iPad is that it really simulates ink better than anything I've used. I think Clip Studio does as good a job, but Clip Studio is harder to use. Like the interface is overly complex. I feel like the people that made the iPad and the drawing program Procreate, they didn't know anything about using computers, and they were pure artists. That's how it comes across. Now, I am a computer expert. I've been using computers for like a quarter century, and I'm very constantly with all my work. So I do know a ton about using computers and how they work and function, how to repair them, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, Clip Studio, it's after 20 something years of using Photoshop, Clip Studio, they have the same tools, the same brushes, blah, blah, blah. They're like in different places and different key commands. And it is missing some of the stuff in Photoshop that I absolutely love. So I could never get into Clip Studio, but I know its drawing engine seems to be the best. So I take back what I said about Procreate being the best. Maybe Procreate's the second best and Clip Studio is the best, but nothing's going to beat pen and paper, but Clip Studio is just hard for me to use. I'm a Photoshop guy, and Procreate is so basic to use, so simple to use. There's like nothing to Procreate. It's like it's an app. It costs $10 on the App Store, and it's a one-time fee. You don't have to pay like a monthly membership or anything like that. And as soon as you pick up Procreate, it's like any other simple app. It just works. It just does what you think it would do. Vinzinger says, that's true. So I'm going to wait for my business partner release, but I did some world building for Shared Universe since I set up how superpowers, superhumanism, magic work in there. That's cool. My advice on all that is like, there's never going to be a time that feels right to start. It's like jumping out of an airplane. Like if you go parachuting, not that I've done it. Yeah, I got to think of a better example. Something I've done. It's just rip the Band-Aid off, right? That concept. There's never going to be a moment where you think in your head, this is perfect. It's going to work. It's guaranteed to succeed. That's not a thing in life for anything. Whether you want to open a restaurant, or you finally want to enroll in college, you want to ask her to marry you or whatever, like nothing ventured, nothing gained. And if you're afraid to just leap, then you're just going to stay where you are. But the problem with that is there's no such thing as staying with you where you are actually. Because in the universe, everything is dynamic. Nothing is static. And what I mean by that is nothing stays the way it is. Things are either getting better or they're getting worse. You don't have a say in that. No, just stay the same forever. That's not how anything works. Even like a piece of metal, if you set it on the ground after, years and years and years, maybe millions of years, thousands of years, it would degenerate. It would fall apart. It would rust. Something would change. Even though no one, quote, did anything to it, nothing stays the same. So with that in mind, if you don't do anything to your life, like that piece of rusting metal, it will just fall apart. But if you take active steps, you can make it better. Do you see what I'm saying? So it does take work to make things good. It doesn't take any work to let things rot, So just think of a property. You ever been to a house that's old and nobody painted the fence and nobody did anything and everything's rotting and drying out, falling apart? That's the way your life can be if you don't do anything. And you don't want that, and you're worth more than that. All of you listening, you're worth the hard work of success. You are worth it. It's going to be grueling. You're not going to like it sometimes, but you're worth it. The results you'll get when you're accomplished and happy, you are worth the work. So let's see. Heather says, happy Friday. Hello, Heather. I'm inking away on a Tyrus book here. It's kind of funny. When I was a little kid, I would eat my plate of food. And it was all, my dad is a gourmet chef, and my mom, the Mexican side, they owned a restaurant. So I always had very high quality, nutritious food that was delicious, right? And we didn't eat anything like processed or out of a box, or not much out of a can or anything like that. Maybe some canned vegetables, but back then that was pretty natural food. It was just like vegetables, water, and salt. But I would eat it in order, like strangely, I would be like, okay, I'm going to eat the vegetables first because I like that the least. Then I'm going to eat the fried chicken at the very end because I'm going to enjoy the end of my meal. So I was able to like delay my gratification on that. And it's funny, I approach drawing the same way. Like, oh, the most fun part of the drawing, and I'm going to contradict myself in 3, 2, 1. The most fun part of the drawing is something like the eyes, right? And the reason I did that eye before I finished the hair over there is for you guys. So like, let me give this drawing a little bit of life and personality so they have something to look at when I'm spinning it around on here. They're not just looking at curls of hair. But yeah, I usually would, I don't want to get into the most fun part of the drawing until I get some of the stuff out. Like when I'm drawing stuff like this, the trailer that the Tyrus characters are in, I'll try and draw the trailer first and draw the picnic table first and the umbrella. Try and draw some of the not fun things first, so then I can get to the fun stuff at the end and I can relax and really just sink into the really fun parts of the drawing. So, but yeah, for those of you joining in, this is page 31 of the Unstoppable Tyrus. I'm hoping to have this thing. I was doing the math in my head of, if I do 5 or 6 pages a week of ink, then I'll be done like the first week of June. I'm pressing myself to do it faster. I don't want to rush myself. I don't want to burn out. So it might take all the way into June or longer, God forbid. But, it'll get done eventually, and we'll put it on a crowdfund and all that. But yeah, I definitely want to get it done for you guys. It was a blast to write this thing. It's a lot of fun. my partner working on it with me, Akeon, he's just awesome. So so I got one of the eyes done, so I has a little more personality. And she doesn't usually wear glasses, this character, but she busted out the laptop and this book, this notes they got. I'm not going to spoil the show with some information. They're trying to figure out a puzzle. And yes, an orangutan is a sidekick of Tyrus in this book. We have a really fun thing. He can talk, this orangutan. So we'll explain it all in the future. But yeah, you're gonna love that. Let me take care of some business here. Into the chat, Sean Lasich. Keep up the good work, sir. Thank you, Sean. And Vizinger comes back. I see what you're saying, and you're correct. Since I've got listen what you have to say, but luckily I manage pencil 2 of my works. Okay, me talking about seizing the day and getting to work. That's what he's commenting on here. And you need to just get the stuff, like get it done. Don't wait. There's never going to be a perfect moment to do anything in life. Open that business, marry that woman. Just do it. You'll learn. Like a lot of people are afraid to have kids. Like, oh, I don't know what to do to be a parent. And like, you'll know. No one will need to teach you. You'll know. It's like I've seen chipmunks raise babies. Bees raise babies. You're smarter than those 2 things, right? Right. Okay. What drawing pad to use? I've always wanted one as a beginner. Ben 31 UK. If you're a beginner and you've never drawn, I want you to go to the art store and buy paper and pencils. I know, not as fun as the iPad. I know, but if you don't learn the fundamentals of how to do this, of how to do this with paper and ink like this, if you don't do this, the shortcuts that the iPad gives you, see, this is real paper. If the shortcuts that Photoshop and iPad and all that give you, they're going to hurt you in the long run because you're going to miss out foundational aspects of how art works. And that's going to echo forever in your art career. Now, am I completely right about that? No, it's just a theory I have because I see a lot of young artists that just did digital. And I'm like, oh, man, I see some stuff that is like you are leaning on the digital because you didn't learn that in pencil. I could be wrong, but it's how I feel about it. I started drawing with a pencil in my grandparents' restaurant kitchen when I was 3 years old in 1981. You know what I mean? Like I've been drawing since forever. So I drew with normal stuff for the first 20 something years of my life. And I usually do draw on paper. The Tyrus book, I'm doing it digitally because I want to get it done a little bit faster than I want to get it done what I want to do is have it out by Comic-Con. But to answer your question that I didn't ask, sorry, I'm using an iPad Pro. There's nothing better for drawing than the iPad Pro. This thing here, okay, I also have this. This is for, you can't see it. There's a screen I'm tapping. You can hear it. That's called a Cintiq. They're the state of the art. They are the industry standard. Everything you watch, like The Simpsons and all that, they're a Disney. They're all using a Cintiq. It's a big one. It's 2 feet wide. It's right here in front of me. But it's not as good. This thing is when you lean it and turn it and all that, it doesn't do it. This thing, the Apple Pencil on the iPad, you could turn it sideways like you're doing like chalk and crayon, and like it's so much more responsive. It's a lot better. Now it's delicate. I would let my granddaughter draw on this iPad all the time. She'd come in and she'd bang, bang, bang. This is the second one of these pencils I had to buy. The other one quit working correctly because she smashed the sensor in the tip. And, they're just like $129. So, but it's a business write-off, right? Because it's a legit business expense. So, but yeah, I definitely would say, get the digital stuff and learn it because obviously the market demands it nowadays. But get the real tools. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pencils and markers and ink and paint and every artistic tool you could think of that's a real life tool. Paint brushes made of a Russian squirrel hair. And I prefer it. I really do. I really prefer it than drawing digitally. Again, this is just for me, drawing this book digitally is just a business decision. It's because I have a schedule I'm trying to get to this year. And, it is what it is. Let's see. Barrett X, member for 14 months. I draw on printer paper. That's how I started. My first comic books were drawn and stapled together on printer paper. Yep. Yeah, it was a good time as a youngster. The first book I ever made, I talked about this on my show on Wednesday night, was called The Dragon Clan. It was Jinx from G.I. Joe, the Ninja character from Super Mario Brothers 2, a piece of clay was a bad guy named King Gop, like G-O-P, like Gop, because he was Goppy in clay. There was, I think, the Wampa from Star Wars, but we gave him a different name. I was playing toys with my brother, and we had all these different toys out. And then I like my imagination got a hold of me, and I wrote like it's sort of a Star Wars / Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing. It's like a ragtag group of people rebelling against a corrupt government. And I remember I was writing it. I was lettering the book, and I got inspired by the Ninja Turtles movie and then the Ninja Turtle graphic novels that I got. This is 1990, and I was in my room upstairs with my brother, and I was making a drawing. And this the bad guy, I think it was King Gop or whatever, was trying to bribe Jinx. She was the one of the in the good guy group, and she slapped him after he gave her this dishonest offer. And I told my brother, how do you spell smack? And because I was like, is it S-M-A-K for a sound effect, or is it S-M-A-C-K? Or I'm 12 years old or 10 years old or whatever. I'm a kid. I'm 12 at the time. Also, and there's a crash. And I've always had the improv comedy gene. I can yes and anything. So I asked my brother, how do you spell smack? And then we hear crash out the window. And I'm like, that's how you spell smack, is what I told my brother. I look out the window. My mom had a white Ford Escort station wagon. The back window of the station wagon. So I'm looking down my second-story bedroom window, and the Ford Escort's parked in front of our house. There are two legs sticking out the back window of the Ford Escort, like wiggling, blue jeans and sneakers, and a destroyed motorcycle on the ground next to the thing. We lived on a curve, like a really like over 90-degree curve. It was a rounded curve, but it was, it was the bottom of a hill, and it was a big curve. And I guess a guy was test driving a motorcycle he wanted to buy and didn't judge the speed of the curve very well. And he went right. He didn't die. He didn't get all messed up. But my mom was screaming. There was blood. There was glass. And she had to call the ambulance. So, yeah, that was not good. Remember, we told my mom what happened. It's like, oh, there's a guy crashed into our car. And she starts screaming. And the ambulance came and got him. And he ended up being okay. Poor guy. It wasn't even his bike, So, Ben 31 UK, I'll be scared of the pencil scratching the screen. No. This is made by Apple, and this is made by Apple. So, of course, they make them to work together. This is never going to scratch the screen. It was made for it. And the glass they use on the Apple products is that Gorilla Glass that has the extra like carbon molecules. It's not going to scratch, dude. Further, buy paper-like screen covers. It's a film you roll that sticks to your screen. Mine is magnetic on the sides because the glass on the iPad is too slick, and then it's like your pencil's like ice skating over. And I like there's a quality of paper called the tooth of the paper. It's the graininess of it, right? I like mine to be grainy because I like to drag my pencil, and the way that grain feels helps give control and all that to the stroke of the pencil or the pen. And so you could buy film to go onto your iPad, and it'll simulate that grain, the tooth of paper. When I first got this thing like 3-4 years ago, I need to buy a new one, I guess. I've had it for like 4 years. I'll give this one to my wife eventually, buy myself a new iPad. But I bought this paper-like cover for the iPad, and it was so good. It was so toothy, like a really rich piece of paper with a lot of... Never been able to find it since. The new screen protectors I find now, they're okay, but they're still a little too slick for my liking. I also bought a nib cover for the tip of the pencil, and it had a rough texture. So instead of making the screen rough, you make the pencil rough. And I didn't like that. That didn't work out. So yeah, that wasn't good enough. So, but yeah, nothing's going to beat real paper and pen. Just nothing's going to beat it. At least for a guy like me that grew up on that for, since I was a little child. Little baby child. I just prefer it, but again, I'm doing it this way for the sake of getting the book out faster, because I got more books I want to do, at least 2 more in 2025, if not 3 more, right? I have 5 books that I've made up, written. I haven't written script for the 5th. I just have like a story outline like in my head. And let's see. Sorry. But I definitely have 4 that I want to get out this year. And we'll see how it goes. Empyrean is my sci-fi epic, similar to like Star Wars and stuff like that. That one is pretty much done. I talked to the colorist a few minutes ago. And thank you guys for enabling me to be able to hire colorists. That's a great thing. And just to hire people to work for me to get more work done. Because there's no way I would do 5 100-something page books myself. Like, how would I even do that? That doesn't make sense. But he's finishing up the colors probably before Valentine's Day, and then we'll get the book designed and we'll get the book out and all that, and it's going to be great. So, and by design, I mean the graphic design and the file set up for the printer. And I got to letter the book too. I'm the letterer, and I'm not going to really hire a letterer for the foreseeable future because I don't write the dialogue until I see the finished pages. You know what I mean? Like this Tyrus script, it's a 120-page book. I don't have dialogue in it. I have page descriptions and like basically what happens. And it's detailed, but there isn't dialogue. I like to see the faces and all that done, and then I kind of feel like I know what they're saying afterwards. You know what I mean? It works for me. That's how I did the Dean Cain book. That's how I think that's a really good way that works for me to write. So so yeah, I can't really letter Empyrean until I see it, you know, so until I see it complete. I suppose I could just letter it in black and white, but right now I've devoted my time to working on this book, illustrating the unstoppable Tyrus. I hope you guys are excited about it. I think this is amazing, this book. I think it's going to be such a fun thing for you guys to read. You know what I mean? I think you should be very, very, very on fire to get a hold of this thing and read it. You know, what we've seen in the last 10 years in entertainment is horrible wokeness that just seems to have ruined everything. You know, they didn't make their own woke shit. They just went after everything we loved because they're too untalented to make their own shit that anyone would find interesting. So they went after, you know, Indiana Jones and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and all of it, and just completely shit the bed, right? These people, they couldn't be more of a joke, these people, when it comes to talent and ability. You know, they're completely incompetent. But I'm giving you that quality entertainment. You should be very, very excited. You should be very grateful. You should write me a letter and thank me. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to start showing you more of Empyrean. I'm getting more colors from my colorist. I went and checked. There are a few more, but he's uploading more like later today and stuff like that. And I'll start showing off more of that stuff. You know, we'll start showing you guys. So let's see here. I like the sound and feel of pencil on paper. I agree with you, Alpha Proto. Vizinger says he loves drawing in pencil and paper, but he draws digitally to work faster. Yeah, don't be worried about being fast. Worry about getting it right. The fast can come. You know what I mean? The fast can come. Like the number one thing that holds artists back is going fast. That's the number one thing, because you don't lay out the structure of the building or the body or the perspective or the anatomy or the storytelling. You go with your first choice when it wasn't your best choice. And yeah, going fast is not a good idea. And it's natural to want to go fast. I'm not trying to criticize you. I want to go fast sometimes too. And it's the number one thing I identified about 10 years ago. I was talking to my wife about 10 years ago about it. And I said, the one thing that has always held me back to make the exact kind of work I want is going fast. And I realized you just emotionally have to let go of that. You have to just let go of, oh, I need to, because it's like, you just want the result. And not you, I'm not talking directly, like that's all of us. It's very human. You know, it's very human to want that result. But you know, it's kind of like standing in front of the microwave and screaming at it to hurry up. You know, is that wise? Is that a good use of your time and energy and all that? Like, no. As a vet colorist, are you critical of your colorist? I hired someone who has more experience than me. I hired someone as good as me. I would not hire someone who wasn't as good as me. So yeah, because I know people in the crowd, like some of you guys, you've asked about like working for me. And if you don't have like years and years of experience, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. You know, I'm 46 years old and I'm building a company, but I don't really have time to teach people. Like I look at people's like portfolio, I look at their resume and like, oh, he's done this, and this for the biggest stuff you can think of. Okay. And he's friendly and honest and answers emails, easy to work with. Okay, I'll work with him. And you know, he likes me and we get along. And you know, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So yeah, of course I'm critical of the work, and I will tell him, hey, I need you to change this or that. But I would never hire someone that I thought I would have to like be over their shoulder. One of the number one things about how I work is, I told you, I don't write the dialogue until the book is done. So I let, like when Akeon was drawing Dean Cain All-American Lawman, I let him change things, you know, slightly. If it was, you know, I'm talking about like you just change chocolate to vanilla, still ice cream, right? But it's like, oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of the bad guy doing XYZ from the left side with the machine gun. You had him come in from the right with a samurai sword, and I get it. I get how that makes sense and blah, blah, blah. So I give him freedom because, like, as an artist, you're trying to express yourself. You're trying to be creative. And if I just tie your hands as your guy that's contracting you to make art for me, it's like, well, I might as well do it myself if I'm not going to let you do anything that you want to do. But the caveat to that is, if you're going to do something you want to do, then I need you to have decades of experience so I know you know what the hell you're doing. Because I don't want to hire some kid and they want to, quote, do what they want to do, and they're experimenting and learning on my dime. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm all for people learning and, taking jobs and this and that. We all got to start somewhere. But for me, since I have the choice, I don't want to hire that. I hate to say that, but I don't want to. So Barrett X says, finished my third book this month. I'm much more of a writer. He's much more of a writer than an artist. So a lot of how I conceptualize characters through what they say. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you a little, not that you asked, Barrett. And it's good to see you again. I haven't seen you forever, buddy. I think the best way to get character across definitely is through the dialogue and then obviously the plot. Because people will say, like, oh, there's plot-driven stories and there's character-driven stories. I don't think so. I think there's just plot and character are the same thing. Because the plot reveals the character, right? So the plot is what happens, what the characters do. So what they do tells you who they are. It tells you their character, it tells you their mindset, what they believe, what they want to do, what they're trying to do. So I think, you show who they are definitely through that dialogue. You have the whiny guy, you have the know-it-all guy, you have the disagreeable guy who's always telling everyone, no. Like, yeah, you can have those kind of people. And everything they do and everything they say should reinforce their character, their mind, their ethos. So absolutely, yeah. And you can do so much storytelling with dialogue, absolutely so much, So I think dialoguing the book is one of my favorite parts. I mean, I love all of it. I love making all of it. Would you do it for free? I did it for free for years. I drew and wrote, and I've always been telling stories since I was a little child. So I did do it for free. So yes, I sincerely just love it. But absolutely, dialoguing is one of the most fun parts for me. And again, I'm a language guy. I've written a lot of stand-up comedy and one-liners, and I love doing improv and all that. So language, it comes very naturally to me. It's just a God-given talent where I can extemporaneously just speak. That's improv, right? And I don't know. It's like my brain just does that always, and it doesn't stop. It's a little interesting when you're trying to go to bed at night, and your brain's like, hey, like a little kid. Why is the Grand Canyon there? How come mashed potatoes? How come they're just like, okay, I want to relax though. I do want to relax. Let's see. Binzinger says he did post some of his art on Twitter and Instagram. It's usually fan art and showcases his art style. Like, for example, how I draw some body parts, clothes, etc. My art style showcases were drawn on paper. Okay, awesome. I'll just tell you, and it's there for you. It isn't just for other people. You don't have to dream of it in one day, or, oh, well, after I do this, or after I graduate, or after I break up with this girl, or after I move to this new city. Bullshit. That's what everyone says. The diet starts on Monday. Today. It's like, well, I can't do it all today. No one asked you to do it all today. You can do something today. You could find the smallest thing you can do that has to do with your goal and do it today. Just the smallest thing, even if it's a web search on how does self-publishing work. How does it work to work with a printer when they're going to print your comic? And you do a web search and do research for 20 minutes. Okay, you started your journey. That's all you have to do to start a journey in life, is start it. It's what is that word? What is the word for words that tell you how to do them? Like a push-up. It's autological. Autological is a push-up is an autological word, right? It tells you what to do. So to start, you start. That's it. And it's not a satisfying answer, but it doesn't need to be satisfying. That's something we have to get over in life, that we always have to feel good about everything we think and say and do. No, you don't. You have to just, like, as Nike said, going back to the 90s, just do it, right? You have to just do it. You don't have to feel good about it. So You think I'm happy always doing everything that I'm always doing? No, but I'm grateful. I'm definitely grateful. And I'm even grateful for the hard times and the hard work and the setbacks. I always make sure to thank God for everything, even bad things, because they make your life better ultimately. When the bad times come, that's when you grow. You only grow when you're out of your comfort zone, right? When you're comfy, you're not growing. When you're comfy, you are not growing. You're just drinking an overpriced frozen drink out of a coconut on a beach somewhere. You're not growing when you do that. You're happy, but you're not growing. So, yeah, it's time to just do it for all of you listening, whether it's make that move, lose that weight, get that degree, whatever it is, just do it, man. Look at that horrible thing that happened in Washington, D.C. the other night, right? That terrible accident with the military Black Hawk hitting the passenger jet. All of those people were minutes from landing. I saw the video, like information, like some flight information, and it was like right there at the runway. It was right about to land. And what do you, we've all ridden on planes, probably everyone listening has ridden on planes. What are you thinking right as the plane lands? Like, oh, okay, I got to go get my bag, or oh, I can't wait to see my fill in the blank uncle, wife, kids, whoever you're about to see. And you know what? I'm going to tell them we should go out to eat a little bit or something. I'm hungry, and oh my God, I left the laundry when I got to have like they all had things to do, and now they're not going to do them because God rest their souls, they're gone. And it's like, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed 2 minutes from now, 2 seconds from now, dude. So this is it, right? This is it. So do it. No more fear. You're disrespecting yourself when you do that. And you're better than that. And you're capable of much more. Every single one of you that can hear my voice, you absolutely are. You know, it's again, oh, well, you're this, or you're that, or you're talented at drawing. That's not what gets you to what I do. I explained before, there is a talent to drawing. Of course, there's a genetic component, a God-given gift to understanding visuals better than other people more easily. It doesn't mean people that have no talent or less talent can't learn it. It's going to be harder. It's harder for short people to get into the NBA, but they can do it. It's more rare. I get it. But don't tell me it's impossible. You know, I remember telling my wife years ago, and this is going to sound like a humble brag, but I was very proud of this. I told my wife years ago, the way I looked at the world, and ever since I was little, about accomplishment and doing whatever I wanted to do, was I told myself, as long as it doesn't violate the rules of physics, then I can do it. If it doesn't violate, like, oh, you can't travel faster than the speed of light or whatever, as long as it does not violate the laws of physics, then I can do it. I was listening to an interview with Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is a big Silicon Valley guy, and he worked with Elon Musk years ago. They helped develop PayPal and some other stuff. And he said that Elon Musk was one of the most unique thinkers he had ever met. And Elon Musk had told Peter Thiel years ago, as long as it doesn't violate the laws of physics, we can do it. When I found out that Elon Musk, one of the most successful men of the last few hundred years on Earth, copied my idea about success, I was very, very proud to learn that. And I would tell any of you that as long as it doesn't violate the laws of physics, you can do it. I don't want to hear shit from anyone saying you can't do it because this, that, and the other. Michael Regina, amazing work, Gabe. Love it. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm having a blast. Look at this, how it's coming out. So let's go back for those of you just joined us. Here's the original pencils, right? So these pencils are loose, right? There's a suggestion of the eyes and the glasses and the face and all that. Oh, there's a reflection of the laptop screen and the glasses. I need to add that in. So then what I did, and this is Akeon, the master illustrator of Dean Cain, All-American LAWMAN. He's doing layouts and pencils for me. And then what I will do, when I see something a little loose like that, I'll go in and like add in my own pencil. So that's my pencil there. And then I'll put white on top of that, and then I'll ink on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so this is the Unstoppable Tyrus, page 31. Oh, let me send out, let me tweet this out really quick and tag Tyrus, so maybe he'll retweet it. Hold up. Hey. I gotta go get the link off YouTube, and then I gotta do all kinds of stuff. Random question: will you do your version? Will your version of Star Wars be a trilogy? Yes. My co-creators of Imperium, they're working on a sequel and all that. They want to do many books. So God willing, we're very successful on it. Alpha Proto, dang, that makes the situation more empathetic. Thinking about that. Are you talking about the flight thing, where the people died in the flight? Yeah, that's how I look at it. Like all those people had plans for 5 minutes after they landed, right? And they're not going to do them now, ever. That's it. you know, and that's horrific. That's horrible. And there's always going to be a last time for all of us. That's going to be it. You know what I'm saying? That's the and you're not going to go to that next birthday party or that whatever it was going to be. So, you know, plan accordingly with your life, man. You've been given a precious gift. Hold on, I'm going to tweet something out. Everyone right now who can hear me, who's watching, share the link to this right now to whatever social media. Just hit the share button there. The share button, hit it, and then share it out. Okay. Okay, inking Tyrus, page 31. And then I will add, okay, link below. Sorry, I'm just writing this thing, and then I'll tag Tyrus in it. Okay, and then I'll put this up here. Big Man Comics Live, inking Tyrus, page 31, link below. All right, watch here. Sorry, I'll write back to the show. I should have done this before the show. Sorry, guys. Watch here. And thank you all for being here. Seriously, it's really fun. Okay, no typos. Okay, post. Okay, there we go. All right, back to the show. Here we is. Are you aware of a plane hitting a Philadelphia mall? At least 2 dead. It was on fire before. Terrible, dude. No, I was not aware of that. That's freaking awful. I hate that. I hate it. Diesel's here. Big Dog Gabe, what's up, my man? Hey, how you doing? Raiders. I hate the Raiders. Hate the Raiders. They do have amazing fans that are very loyal, though. So, I hate them because they beat the Broncos' ass for years recently when the Broncos were on their post-Peyton Manning downturn. That was a gnarly 8 years for Denver. Worst stretch in the history of the club. So, wow, I'm almost done with this panel here. The Denver Donkeys. How dare you? Grant Rocha says Philadelphia streets on fire. That is horrible. That is horrible. Oh, hopefully there's the people are okay. That's really terrible, though. It's a terrible thing to learn. Here's something that the iPad makes faster. Okay, so I want to ink these swooping hairs that are going over these other ones. So in real life, you'd have to do 2 lines. Here on the iPad, you can put it on a different layer and then go like this. So now I'm crisscrossing those, right? I'm like, oh no, you violated those. That doesn't make any sense. But what I can do, watch what I can do. Since it's on a different layer, like it's on its own layer, I can then just go in and erase it, and it won't affect the ones under it. You see? And that is the advantage of the iPad. Now, everyone who wants to draw, please learn on real paper, you know, as much as possible with real stuff, real paint, real paper, all that. But that doesn't even make sense, that hair there. Yeah, that didn't even make sense. It didn't even go with the flow of the mass of the hair there. But that is an advantage to work on multiple layers. That is probably the biggest advantage of Photoshop and all these sort of things, is to work on many layers at once. That way you don't have to edit the way you do in real life. In real life, you'd have to, I mean, if you were painting, you'd use like a Frisket or something like that. We'd say, we could write world's best mom on here. I'm not going to write on the mug. But yeah, world's best mom. She's not even a mom in this, Gabe. Jeez. But I didn't know about that Philly thing. Terrible. Comic X Books, Knights of Columbus. Excellent work. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to start doing these more regularly. It does slow me down to do this, but I do want to work on it regularly, like this for you guys. Because again, I was saying at the beginning of the show, a big part of the social media of crowdfunding is building this personal relationship with you guys. I have no problem talking. I'm not camera shy, and I'm a good improver, so I can just talk to you guys without needing a script or anything. But you know, it does slow down the drawing thing a little bit. I'm thinking of doing it in the earlier part of the day. So I live out in California, so I was thinking of doing this from like 10:30 to noon or something like that. But I thought I'd come on here for the first time and just give it a shot. Secretary, not sure. My 11-year-old daughter is an amazing artist like you. I'd love to show you some of her stuff. Hit me up on Twitter. My DMs are open there. Don't try to sell me investments or bitcoins or anything. I hate those DMs. What like who doesn't get this on social media? You get a random hot chick follows you, wink, wink, but it's like, it's not real, guys. It's a bot. Plus, I'm married, so fat lot of good that does me. Or they're trying to sell you Bitcoin or whatever. Or they'll say, I saw you have a YouTube channel. I can help you with marketing. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Why don't you help yourself with marketing? Because that was a terrible pitch. Let's see. Heather, she looks like my daughter. This looks like your daughter? All right. She doesn't usually wear glasses. She's only wearing them in this scene. I'm not a fan of glasses, but I like it for the scene. It's good storytelling. And that's the kind of thing Acheon brings to the table, besides his masterful concept of storytelling. I'll explain to you guys a little bit of what comic book storytelling is. And it's kind of obvious, but for those of you that might not have an idea, storytelling is what you draw, but it's a little more than that. Storytelling is the choice of what you draw. And that is probably the most important skill of a comic book artist, because you only get one drawing per panel, right? You get a moment, and you have to choose the perfect moment to get the idea across of that moment. Like, and when you say, oh, he punches him, or he does this, or he does that, you got a million choices of what you could draw, how you could draw it, what angle, this, that, and the other, and you've got to nail it. And if you don't nail it, the storytelling won't be clear in the reader's mind. For any of you that have read a comic book, what you'll agree with me about is that they don't seem like static images when you're reading. Just like when you're reading a great novel, it's like it's really happening, right? When you're reading a comic book, somehow, some way, those images are moving on the page. I don't know, but they are. Like, it just, if it's drawn correctly and it's written correctly, that stuff starts moving on the page. And it's really, really a wonder. Let's see, that would pop out here. We'll just, there's the edge of the computer. Then it seems like we have a slight shadow here. I'll do the shadow this way. But so we got that panel done. I'll keep working on the next one. We're not done here. Grant Rosher, you make it look. Oh, dude, it's so easy for me. All it took was like 43 years of practice to be as good as I am today. So if you start now, 43 years from now, what year is it? It's 25. So in 2068, if you have no skill in 2068, you could be at least as good as me. Alfredo says, good point. When I think back to the comics I read, I don't remember static images. I remember, of course, because storytelling is the proper choice of image. What image should I choose to draw? Barrett asks, a common criticism in bad comics is the art being static. Your points about art are insightful. Oh, it's almost like I'm an expert and I've been doing this a long time, but thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I've been doing comics since I was a little boy, reading them and drawing them forever. I've been being paid for 25 years now, so let's start on this next one where he's I love the way I've written the Tyrus character. He reflects a lot of real life Tyrus, only he's a superhero imbued with some amazing mutant abilities, but we'll get to more of that in the thing. And yes, we are already up to page 30. So you don't have to worry about this comic being 5 years late. It won't be late at all. It'll be right there for you. You'll order it. You'll crowdfund it, I guess, and then you'll get it. You'll get it soon. There's nothing wrong with me doing ahead of time for you guys. You deserve that. I mean, we're all going to take a little while to recover from this Biden economy in our country of America, if you're an American. And I want to give you value. You know what I mean? And this is mine are way bigger than others. I'm talking about my comics, but I guess that goes for a lot of things. I'm a big dude. It's called Big Man Comics for a reason. If you're wondering, the company's really just named after me. I'm 6'4". I'm a big dude. So it's Big Man Comics. Yeah, and that came from, I wanted a fun name that exuded like masculinity and power, but it was still fun. And then growing up in the 90s, all you did was play street basketball. Anyone who's my age, if you were a middle schooler, high schooler, college, if you were a young man in the 90s with Michael Jordan there, all you did is play basketball. I played thousands and thousands and thousands of games of pickup basketball. And since I'm I always noticed it was older guys. It was hey, big man, like, because you would play with people you didn't know. You'd go with your buddies, but you'd have to fill out your 5. Sometimes you'd get a guy that you didn't know, and guys who they didn't know my name on the basketball court. Sometimes they go, big man, ball over here, So I got used to being called big man all the time. And I realized, it's one thing about myself that it's weird because it's not like I work to be big. It's genetics. It's my dad's mom. Karia was her name. She's a Turkish lady Libyan Turkish lady, 6'4". That's a tall woman. That's, I think, primarily where I'm getting my height genetically. It's nothing I work for, but it is something I'm proud of. And I didn't realize I was proud of it until I thought about it one day, because I was trying to think, well, what am I proud of about myself? And not in an arrogant way, but like trying to do some stuff where I'm feeling mentally healthy. Because I think we all struggle with that. We all struggle with feeling good enough, feeling like, have I done enough? Am I enough? Like you go down that existential rabbit hole pretty easy, right? And I thought, I've always been proud of my size, my length, my wingspan is tremendous. I got like 7-foot arm wingspan. So, but I don't know. That's something I've been proud of. I'm not sure why. I guess it's because it's rare. People admire it. I guess most CEOs are taller than average, and women prefer taller men, and I don't know, taller people are respected. Like the taller guy, he's the leader. I think that's probably an ancient tribal thing. Like, Grok is the big one. He's the big strong one. So, yeah. So it's Big Man Comics. So I really like the Tyrus character. So that's one thing that I really get along with my friend Tyrus. We're actually friends. He's a big man. I'm 6'4", and when I took photos with him when we met the first time, I've met him a few times in person. He's got me by like 3-4 inches. He's like a legit 6'7", 6'8", this guy. He's because a lot of people they'll say they're 6'5" or whatever. Then you'll meet him like this dude's 6'2". It's still tall, but it's like, why? I don't know. You're already tall. What are you lying about it for? But yeah, Tyrus is legit 6'7", 6'8", something like that. So by my estimation. Let's see. Comic X book. What are you reading now, or what was the last book read of any kind? I read a lot of self-improvement and self-help books, and I read a lot of art books. I'll grab one that I got for Christmas that I really want. Let me push the green screen up. Oh wait, no, it's over here. It's on a different side of my office over here. There's a Spanish illustrator, and he's worked for Disney and Pixar and DreamWorks and everybody. He's a master, and he's put out about 7 books. The first one is called Framed Ink. It was about 10 years ago, and he put out Framed Environment Design right before Christmas. So I asked for it for Christmas. And if you want to know how to draw, get his books. He has like 6 or 7 books. And if you've seen a movie, he's probably worked on it. He's a master illustrator, but it's not just that he's a great illustrator, because there's a lot of great illustrators, but he is a master of explaining illustrating, and that's a thing that's more rare. He can explain art very well, and it's like I've just devoured his books. They're about 150, 200 pages. I just devoured like 5 of them this fall. I'd had my eye on it for years, that book. I was like, I don't know, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Maybe the guy doesn't know what he's talking about, because I didn't know the guy. I never read any of his work. And I just happened to see like an Instagram reel of some girl who was good at drawing. It's like, these are the best books about drawing manga. And he doesn't do manga. He does movie stuff and all that. And she recommended his books. Okay. And I said to myself, that's about the 5th time, the 50th time I've seen this book. And so I just bought the first one on a whim. And I think I read it in like, 120-page book. And the book is filled with illustrations. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't just write and tell you stuff, like he's showing it to you, how it works, why it works, how just like the basics of physics, of how shadows work and proportion and perspective. And then just the philosophy and how to think about drawing, how to think about what to draw and why to draw it. It's comprehensive. It's everything about drawing. If you want to know how to draw, he has got you covered. I didn't even tell you his name. The book is called Framed Ink. I believe he's a Spaniard, and he's a genius, I believe. And his name is Marcos Mato Mestre. Mateu-mastre. But just look for Framed Ink. This is Framed Environment Design, his latest. And it's brilliant work. You won't go wrong investing in those. They're outstanding books. I haven't read that one yet. I've read the other 6 that I have, the other 5 or 6. I got that one for Christmas, but I've been caught up drawing Tyrus forever, so I haven't read that yet. So I'll have to get to it soon. Let's see. Grant Rogers says CEOs used to be at least 6 feet because people thought height equals power. I would have to start my own company to be a CEO. Well, why not? Why do you want to work for someone else? Think about that for a minute. Don't you think there's a bit of a psyop in that? Like, oh, I got to go make someone else's dreams come true. Like, I understand we all have to work at companies at first, unless you're born into like wealth or money, or you're born, your dad owns a company or whatever, then go do that. But if you're born, like most of us, into the middle class or maybe even poor, yeah, you're going to have to work for someone else. There's nothing wrong with it. I did it, many different jobs. You guys don't even know what I've been. I've been a truck driver, warehouse work. I worked in a cardboard box factory. I've delivered newspapers. I was a Pizza Hut guy. I did catering for Jewish kosher, like bar mitzvahs. I've had so many jobs. It's just like insane. But I told my kids this since they were young. And now they both are self-employed, now that they're adults. My daughter's going to be 28. My son just turned 26. Don't work for anyone else a minute longer than you have to. So I'm not putting you down if you work at a company or work for someone else. I did it. My wife did it. Everyone has done it. But don't do it a minute longer than you have to. Work every day to be like, I'm going to own my business. This ear's a little too sharp. It's like an elf ear. I need to round that off. I want to work my business. I work for DC Comics, but yeah, now I'm Big Man Comics, right? So I make the money. I make the decisions. I write the stories. It's mine. It belongs to me now. So I don't have to worry about people's opinions or, oh, you got to come in on Friday and blah, blah, blah. And you got to do the, no thanks. And then you're just making someone else rich, and it's your work, right? And again, that thing I told you before, you're going to live once, dude. This is it. There is no, oh, okay, well, you'll die and then you'll come back because you remember, and you'll remember everything you got wrong the first time and then you do it again. Like a video game, right? Like Mario Brothers, where your character dies and then his second life. Like, yeah, that is not a thing. So, but yeah, you can get to the point where like what you're doing is like instinct for me. Because you'll know, I mean, you guys will notice I'm talking to you. So think about this. My brain is fully engaged with the conversation. I'm peeking over at the chat, and yet I'm able to just draw the entire time and draw at the high level of my skill the whole time. And that's, years and years and years of practice. And you can do it too. And I would tell you this, oh, it's going to take years. It's going to take years. That sounds hard, right? You know what sounds even harder and worse is the years go by and you don't work on anything. So let's say it was going to take you 8 years to become a professional, whatever you want to be, comic book artist, a chef, or whatever. The 8 years are going to happen no matter what. What's worse, working hard for 8 years and having your dream, not working hard for 8 years, and now it's 8 years later and you still don't have the shit you want. That's a lot worse to me. That is so much worse than the hard work. So that's how I want you to think of that. Baradax is going to become an electrician's apprentice this year. Lord willing, if my books start selling, I'd write and create for myself full time. Yeah. So go be I was a construction worker. That I was in the trades. I swung a hammer. I'll show you my hammer. Now my wife borrows my hammer from time to time, so it may not be here. But when I was a carpenter 26 years ago, this is the exact hammer that I used to pound nails. This is it right here. This is my hammer from 1999. This is it. So go be an electrician, dude. I was a construction worker. I was a carpenter. Like you got to pay your bills, right? So great hammer, by the way. I would feel sorry for anyone that got their comic book dream to come true at age 18, because I don't see how you could be disciplined or appreciate anything. I'm not trying to criticize anyone, but just I think if I got exactly what I wanted when I was a kid, I think I might have screwed up, right? Because you're like, oh, well, that was easy. And then you're getting money and you're doing this and you don't have to be disciplined because, but I think, like anything in life, strength is going to come through resistance. And when you have to work hard to get anywhere, you're going to really appreciate it when you finally get there. So I don't know. I'm glad, of course I wanted to just be a professional comic artist when I was 13 or 14. I just wanted to be one. But it's so much better for me that I didn't. It really is. It's totally way better for me that I didn't. Because I think I would have been a screw up, and there was so much money in comics at the time. In that early comics had a boom, just like the housing boom of like 20 years ago. Comics had a boom, late 80s to very, very early 2000s. Anyone with any marginal drawing skill could get a job. They were making money hand over fist. Comics were selling in the millions. People were buying so many copies of everything. And like all booms, it crashed and it was horrible. And I think if I was a little bit older, I would have got in on the comic boom. These ears are wrong. One is so much smaller than the other. Holy shit, dude. Let's see. So here's a nifty thing I'm gonna do with the iPad. I'm gonna copy this ear, copy it, paste it, lighten it, and then redraw it on another layer. You'll see. So I'm gonna take this ear, I'm gonna cut it out. Hold on. Cut and paste. So now that ear's on another layer. Then I'm going to transform the ear, right? I'm going to make it bigger. Make it a little bit bigger. I think it needs to be about like that, and then we'll hide more, right? That's about right. So then I'll make it more transparent, the ear. I'll make it more transparent, and then I'll hide this. And then I'll re-ink it. You see? See, that's the kind of thing the iPad helps you save time with. So when I talk about saving time using this thing, that's what I'm talking about. Whereas if I was fixing that mistake in real life with the wrong size ear, like, holy crap, I'd have to get out some white paint and do this, that, and the other, and it would just be a lot harder to deal with. I feel like this is popping out too much right here. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that it really, really helps you with. Okay. I'll check the chat here in a second. Okay, so that's... we okay there? Yeah, I feel like that earlobe is too low now. Maybe it wasn't too big. Aha. Okay, there. Okay, there he is. There he is. Okay. Okay. All right, where were we? Looks like the Al Bundy Hammer from Married with Children. I don't know. I wasn't allowed to watch that show. I was not allowed to watch that. My mom saw one episode of Married with Children at my Aunt Martha's house, and it was really dirty. I saw a few minutes of it too because my aunt's like, "You guys got to see this. It's hilarious." And my mom was appalled. So I was never allowed to watch that. I thank God. At the time, I didn't appreciate it. Thank God my mom was so strict about what we consumed for media growing up. It was filth was never normalized to me. So I have a pretty high level of disgust when it comes to filth. I do believe in free speech. Like, people want to watch or say this or that, fine. Not me though. I mean, it's why I quit working at DC Comics, right? They wanted me to work on things that I found morally objectionable, and no thanks. No thank you. So I suppose it was just a matter of time until that happened. I just wanted to work on action and adventure. They wanted to work on filth. So they can do it without me. And they are. Did you hear today the family, the Schuster family, the Siegel and Schuster, the guys that invented Superman? I believe it's the Schuster family, is suing DC Comics, so they will not release that movie this summer. And I do hope they win the lawsuit. Because outside of the US, DC doesn't apparently, this is alleged, have the legal right to use the Superman character. Like in Canada and the UK and somewhere else, they have different copyright laws where the copyright reverts to the creator or the estate. So the estate is suing. That is just pathetic. It seems like, I don't know if it's me, but I feel like the DC Comics like movie thing is just like embarrassing. I do. It's just like all their movies just like didn't do well, and they tried to do what Marvel did, and it always just seems to have this like corniness to it that just fails. And I don't know if that's my imagination, like just my perception of what I'm seeing there, but that's how it feels to me, So you guys tell me if you think it's different. But thank you for joining me. You made it through the week. You made it through your office, or wherever you were working, whatever you were doing. And now it's time to relax, have a nice dinner, see the wife, the kids, maybe see your buddies or your other family members. And thank you for joining me on a Friday night before you go out and do whatever you're going to do. Be safe, have a good time. Remember what we were talking about earlier. This is it. This is the one life. Make the most of it. Your bullshit ends now, right? No more waiting. No more excuses. No more telling yourself tomorrow. You're worth more than that. So right? No more excuses. Let me even this out. Yeah, but thank you guys for coming in here. I'm gonna wrap this up in just a few, but please hit the like and the share. What is anyone doing this Fridays? Are people going out and having fun, or is it just a chill thing for most of you? What is the what's the hubbub? What's going on with anybody? But I think I'm going to start doing these on weekdays. I'll try and do like an hour and a half before I take my lunch break at noon. I think I will. Yeah, I think I'll start trying to do these at like 10:30 a.m. Pacific. That's what I think I'll do. So we'll see how that goes. But I would like to connect with you guys more because I do the one live show a week, but we don't really showcase or talk about comics on there, and I feel like that's a mistake. Because I don't know a lot of you. I know some names I recognize, but one thing I was looking at the analytics on my YouTube channel. I realized like, oh, I got a lot of followers when I came out against DC Comics, and I got a lot more followers when I started working for Eric July and stuff. I said, okay, so these are primarily comic book interested people, right? Comic books and pop culture and all that. So I definitely should talk about what I'm doing if I'm running a company doing this. Barrett X says he's a loner and a homebody. Won't be going out, but he's got a fun episode of Braxcast that he's doing tomorrow. Great War of Separation is big. Yeah, I think Eric July is just, he's killing it. And I've been debating if I should go to MegaCon or not. Someone told me I should go out there. My good friend Dean is going out there. And I was kind of thinking maybe last minute I'll jump out there, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if that's a wise choice. I got a lot to do. But again, I missed it last year because I was going to go, and then I missed it. And then what? You're just going to keep missing it and missing it. I remember what we talked about earlier. And it's a grim topic, but the plane crash, right? That horrible plane crash the other day. Those people all had plans and, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then their lives were just snuffed out in an instant. We're all going to be gone eventually. And you keep putting things off and putting things off. Maybe you'll never do them. I've never been to Europe. Always wanted to go. I should probably go. I've never been to Japan. I've always wanted to go there. My wife's always wanted to go to Scotland. And I make fun of my wife about Scotland. Now, hold on a second. What am I doing tonight, Heather? You're looking at it. I'll probably get some dinner with my wife, hang out with Big Baby. But I'm going to draw. What do I have to do? My responsibilities for the rest of the day is finish this page. It's probably at least 3 hours looking at that there. At least 3 more hours of this. And then, but I'll have to have dinner. And that and lift weights. That's the 2 things I have to do today on my chores for me. But other than lifting weights and working on this, I'll find some time to have a little bit of relaxation with the wife and all that. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Heather, you said you were coming out this way sooner or later, right? La Jolla? Coming out here? It's my neck of the woods. You're going to love it. You've been there before, though, right? Aren't you like a San Diegan? Right? La Jolla is the best. Big fan of La Jolla. La Jolla, for those of you that don't know, is the wealthiest part of San Diego, and the entire city of San Diego is wealthy, like really expensive homes pretty much everywhere. And La Jolla being the richest part. There's a mountain there that overlooks the ocean. It's Mount Soledad. And that's where La Jolla is. Salty Cracker is live on Friday night. I've never seen Salty Cracker. Someone else recommended him to me. I see him on Twitter, like I see his posts and all that, but I never see him. I've never seen his show, but I've heard he's a smart and funny political commentator. But I don't know where to see him. I never see him on YouTube. Is he just like a Rumble guy or something, or is that what it is? Is that why I don't see him? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to check out Salty Cracker. By his name, I can tell he's funny, though. That's a funny name. And his tweets are good, too. One thing I'm very proud of is being able to drag a long line with ink and have it still retain its shape and not I'm glad that when I drag a long line, it doesn't get all wiggly, that I actually have the skill to do a really nice line that's, done by hand. And then it's still nice and beautiful. And that is what 40-something years of drawing can get you. So you too, kids, if you just start today, in 40-something, just a scant 43 years, you can be like me. But yeah, this is going to be a blast, this book, when we finally put it out. It's really fun. Really fun stuff. Heather says she wants to go live in La Jolla. Well, save your pennies. Save your pennies, because, you know. That's where our office for DC Comics was. It was in La Jolla, right by the ocean, like literally like a block away. You know, one thing I want to do this year, stop saying literally. Because too many people say it. It's like, you know, it's always all over social media. It's like, I literally had lunch right now. You can just say I had lunch right now, right? I don't like that I've kind of fallen into the youth slang of saying literally. I don't like that at all. So as soon as I'm done with this face, I'm going to go. Oops. And let's see. Okay. Yeah, literally's got to go. Literally is literally irritating. Okay, so that's his face there. Now, what I would do is use the eraser, but use the eraser in the style of a pencil, and then take a few lines out of the beard. See, this is another thing that the iPad helps you with, you know, because in real life on pen and paper, I would have to do this with white paint, and it's tedious to do that. It's time consuming, and it's hard to do. Here, you can do it in, you know, fractions of seconds. So. And that just indicates the texture of a beard, right? So. Okay. He's live on YouTube, and then he'll switch to Rumble exclusive in an hour. I know. Oh, Kara, you're getting ready for curling. She's saying hello from Michigan. But Kara, I was just leaving. But here's what I inked on the show today. And I think I'm going to start doing these in the mornings from 10:30 to noon on weekdays. I think that's what I'll start doing here. But that's what I got done for you guys. We started here. So we started with these pencils, right? And then I kind of adjusted the pencils to clean it up. And then we come in and we ink right on top of it, right? So that's that. This is Tyrus, the Unstoppable Tyrus, page 31. So yeah, the book is cruising. It's 120, might end up being 130. I'm going to add some stuff to the fight scene at the end. So we're a quarter of the way done, and we're kicking butt, trying to get this thing done before the end of May, because I want to get it done by the end of May and then print it in June and then have copies of it available at Comic-Con and all that. So we'll see. We'll see how the crowdfunding, we'll see how everything works. Okay, guys, it was awesome talking to you. Hit the like and all that, and hit the share, and thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.